What's happening, Planeswalkers? Oh! We are back, and it is your hype boy, PRC.
Carl coming back at you guys. Sorry for the interruption.
Yes. Many apologies, man. We just had some technical difficulties, and while we were watching round 2, we actually kept on going in and out of the stream, going in live, out live. For many that are Magic affiliates and watch the stream, you could probably say that we were flickering a lot.
Just a bit.
Now, flickering in and out of game state, but just to bring you up to par, it was actually in game 2, it was Alan and Eli. Alan had already gotten game 1, and we were actually going into time. Then it went into time, Eli got game 2, and so there was not enough time to go into game 3, so guess what? Both the individuals drew.
Yep, they both get 1 point, and that will throw things off in top if either one of them makes it to top. So both of them kind of have to play it out at this point and continue to go forward.
Got to continue. Got to continue there. But my man right here was talking about the lands that I think it was called the Infinity Lands, and he was saying that they really, really look good to the point that he himself was actually wavering about buying or not buying them. But I'm very curious.
So all the Infinity Lands are based off space. So you have Hollow Fountain here. It looks like a landscape. You see the moon far background. Great card. You have Watery Grave there. Another great landscape. Blood Crypt. The only one I really actually don't like is Stomping Grounds. It's a meteorite just about ready to hit everything. But Steam Vents itself looks fantastic.
Yeah, that kind of, out of all the other ones, that one looks kind of like cartoonish is what it looks like right there. And but you're right, all the other ones, oh my goodness, they look really good.
Steam Vents looks fantastic. A lot of people are actually saying that's Godless Shrine, and Godless Shrine looks pretty fantastic.
Hey, Godless Shrine right there, of course, being for Plains and Swamps, for those of you that don't know the land. We got Temple Gardens that actually looks pretty good itself. It kind of looks like a scene from Doctor Who or the Dr. Seuss books.
True. My personal favorite, even though it's a whole little bit cartoonish as well, is Overgrown Tomb. Just because you see a spaceship out in the middle of nowhere just rotting, and you see plant life still growing out of it somehow. Like I said, I don't buy sets like this very often. I prefer real sets where all the cards are going to matter every time. And if you aren't familiar with Affinity or Unfinity or any of the unsets, I'll kind of tell you what the sets are. They're joke sets. None of the cards are standard legal. None of the cards are legacy legal. None of the cards are modern legal, with the exception of the lands that come from it. This is the first set where we're going to actually have cards that are legal in legacy.
You know what we're actually going to also have to do is we're going to head to the mats, because for round 3, game 1, we already got a Thoughtseize being played.
It looks like we're basically seeing a Jund v. Jund matchup already. You see Lurrus on one side of the field, you don't see Lurrus on the other, so it's Big Jund versus Little Jund.
Big Jund versus Little Jund.
Mm-hmm.
Is it because of the colors that's why it's big, or what is the differentiation between little and big?
Lurrus.
Ah, okay. The converted mana cost right there, the CMCs. But it looks like, what do we got right here? We got a Ragavan. We got the Abu being played. So Jund playing Abu, is that normal?
Yes.
Okay, so can you explain to me again Jund? Why is it called Jund? It's because it's 3 colors, right?
It's because it's 3 colors, and that's because it comes from the Alara block, and that's where we first saw the Jund color pair official. The first color pair to be named that was Jund, and that's just a shard from that block like I mentioned before. So that's red, black, green on both sides.
Red, black, green on both sides. We do have a Ragavan up, and of course Vickers is doing the gentleman. I think I can call it the gentleman thing to do. Once you get Thoughtseize, they'll actually keep their hands revealed for, of course, what was revealed during Thoughtseize, and then every new card after that is face down. But do you actually do that during regional, perhaps, or during any other big tournaments?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So it's just because of locals.
It's just because locals. It's just because Vickers wants to be nice. If Vickers goes to the 1K, he's not going to do this unless he's feels like he wants to do it and be nice to somebody. Usually, if you go to a big tournament, 1K, 10K, regionals, Borough Tour, whatever, bring a pad and paper if you're bringing any card that looks at your opponent's hand for information, because your opponents will not be nice.
Yeah, pen and paper is real good right there, but we got, if I'm not mistaken, Ren and 6.
Yep.
Yeah! Woo! Renin 6 being played, and of course that got rid of the Abu right there, the Ragavan, but we got Termagral! Termagral's on board right there, and of course it does not, actually does it have it? It's got a creature, he's got a land? No, I don't think he has it yet. It has to have Delirium, right? 4 different cards, or is
no, the way Tarmogoyf reads, it gets +1/+1 for each card type in Grave. So in Vicar's Grave right now, we see a sorcery, we see an artifact, we see a creature, and we see a land. So that should be a 4/5 Tarmogoyf for 2.
Oh my goodness, Termagral!
He does also have, coincidentally, he does have Delirium, if that does matter at some point in Vicar's deck. Right now, though, we aren't going to see too much. We're going to see a Thoughtseize from Will, where he's going to fetch, lose a little bit more life. And he does, in theory, need to deal with this Tarmogoyf, or his Renin 6 will die upon crackback.
Oh, and you know the thing too is we already know that you said Delirium, he'd have it if he needed a card that had Delirium, but we already saw, we see Hell's Heat right there. We saw Ragavan, and guess who's in the trifecta?
Usually it's Dragon Rage Chandler.
Chandler, man. So we gotta know. We already can assume that this man has Chandler in the wings somehow in the deck, obviously, because he still has the cards revealed that were revealed due to the effects of Thoughtseize. And I think he only has 2 cards left in hand, actually.
Yes, it looks like he has that Unholy Heat, and he's... well, he no longer has that Unholy Heat.
He does not have it, because he got Thoughtseized again, or is that Inquisition?
That is Collective Brutality.
Oh, that's another one that looks at the hand and drops. Golly.
So it has an ability where you discard a card, and you escalate it. It has 3 abilities on it. The first ability is you can look at your opponent's hand, get rid of an instant or sorcery. You can -2/-2 target creature, or you can have target opponent lose 2 life and you gain 2 life.
Ah, you know what? And those are always the best cards too. The more options that you have, the better the card is. It's just really good.
That one was a quick one. Hopefully that one was a quick one.
Hey, hopefully we flickered fast enough to where we ETB back on the stream is what we need to do right there. That ETB is OP right there. But hey, it looks like we got Vickers taking game 1, and now these guys are about ready to side. So what can you assume? Jun v. Jun. I mean, do they have cards that can stop them, the other opponent, from like using the graveyard or exiling the graveyard in some way?
Jund v. Jund is an interesting matchup. Usually, in this case, it's whoever really goes first. You can probably expect that Big Jund has a bit more ways to deal with Little Jund than Little Jund has ways to deal with Big Jund, and that's because the 2-drop restriction that Vickers has to deal with utilizing Luris.
That is true. Now, with that being said, I mean, we've already been talking about this card multiple times, and I already told you it's my friendship card. So let me tell you, how OP would it be if the Jund player were to play Blood Moon?
They won't, because they will definitely hurt themselves more so. It's a 3-color deck, and usually you don't see 3-color decks playing Blood Moon. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but usually that would be a very big hindrance. Now, that being said, I guarantee you Vickers is utilizing some number of Alpine Moon in his deck, which acts like a Blood Moon against certain decks.
So what does Alpine Moon do then? I'm assuming it's a weaker version of Blood Moon, but in what way?
It's a 1-drop, and it targets one specific land. That land basically named is nullified and void at that point. So you play Blood Moon and you declare Urza Saga, it kills Urza Sagas. You play Alpine Moon and you hit a man land. You play Alpine Moon, you hit one of the Tron lands, or the Urza's lands is another name they're known by, like Urza's Tower, Urza's Mine, Urza's Power Plant, and it basically nullifies the combo fairly quickly. I highly doubt that Vickers will bring in that card against Will, unless Will is running a man land of some kind. We haven't seen that information just yet.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's actually not bad right there. But I mean, it seems like it's one of those times where, because I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh myself, and whoever went first 9 times out of 10 won the game. Is it the win of the dice roll? Because it's more along the lines of, hey, break my board, and 9 times out of 10, player 2 can't really break the board. So when you say whoever goes first, is that because of the establishing the mana first? Or is it because you're establishing board first?
You're establishing board, you're establishing mana. You tend to win more often than not if you go first. Now, that's only very slightly skewed. It's probably 55% to 45% or something along those lines. As we did see, Will actually went first that matchup with the Thoughtseize, and he ended up actually losing that game. So right now, if I was Will, I would probably bring in some number of cards to hate against the graveyard, and I'd actually, I don't know if I'd take out my Tarmogoyfs, but I would definitely bring in a card to handle my opponent's Tarmogoyfs, because the one thing that Big Jund doesn't have that Little Jund does is Big Jund doesn't have a way of recursion really, whereas Little Jund does with Lotus. Now Big Jund, that being said, does have Liliana of the Veil, which you could probably expect to see. They both have Renin 6, more than likely. So right now, it's going to be a very awkward Planeswalker v. Planeswalker matchup. I don't know if Liliana. I don't know if Will is running a secondary version of Liliana that might give him an additional leeway in this matchup. So.
Liliana, and you said the perfect and correct Planeswalker. Man, she's fine. She's my favorite Planeswalker, dude. She really is, man. And I pulled a Liliana the Veil, but alas, I couldn't pull 3 more, and I really couldn't build a deck with her. But man, if I could, Liliana, you it, girl, you it.
It's hard. She's a difficult Planeswalker to build around. There's really only 2 decks that utilize her, even though she's as expensive as she is. And that's going to be Jund, and that's also going to be 8 racks.
She's a difficult woman in general, man. Difficult woman, but you know what? She got that experience. She got that experience over I don't know how many years old, over 300 years old, man. And you're not as old as Yoda, but still got experience a lot more than all of us put together, man. Woo! I like that. And it looks like they're about ready to head and embark on game 2. So let's head to the mats. Woo! So we're heading to the match right there, and it looks like Will is thinking and he is pondering, but I do see a Renin 6. Oh, I'm going to keep on saying it because I got that card right. Woo! I like that.
So we actually did see one of Will's sideboard cards, which is probably why he's considering keeping or mulliganing this hand, and that's a Nihil Spellbomb. That's only going to affect his opponent's graveyard, which is the correct move in this particular matchup, because you want to make sure that your Tarmogoyfs remain strong, and you want to make sure that Vickers Delirium is no longer active.
You want to weaken your opponent while you stay strong. And that's how you got to do it. You got to play around. You got to bob and weave.
Yep. And we see the Nihil Spellbomb actually be the first card that he drops, which is perfectly fine.
The Nihil Spellbomb. Okay, so in order to crack it off, how much mana do you have to pay for that?
0. You can just tap it.
You can tap. Oh. So at any point, ticking time bomb right there. Go ahead. Let me see something that I don't like, and boom, we're cracking the bomb right there.
And then you can pay black if you want to just sack it, draw a card. So.
I really do like how this man Vickers shuffles his deck, man. It's just real smooth how he does it. But I still haven't learned how to do that, man. I still have not learned that. I still kind of feel like in the early days, he played a TV and a channeler. What is he missing? He's missing Ragavan, but we didn't see Channeler last game. And what I tell you, that trifecta right there. My goodness, man.
Hey, you're learning. That's all a matter it is.
That's what's up right there. As a commentator, we gotta have a good mind. We gotta have that good memory. I gotta be like an elephant every time I'm on screen. Woo! Woo! I'm slurring words right there. But yeah, no, it kind of feels like the same time when I first started playing card games, I did not know how to card shuffle. Oh man, did it feel so weird? And now it's just like I can't even remember the days that I didn't even know how to card shuffle.
Yeah, that's all it is we do see a Renin 6 drop, so it's Renin 6 on both sides of the field, and he's actually a ping down that Renin 6. But you're right, it is, once you get used to it, it just comes second nature. It also helps that a lot of the players, at least within this area, tend to work with their hands. I know Vickers does do carpentry on the side, so for him, it's just super easy working with his hands like that. So.
Oh, okay, I did not know that. Hey, you know what, Vickers? If I got some furniture that I need building, man, we're going to come to you, player. We're going to come to you. But I'm going to Renin 6, you're Renin 6. And of course, whenever he removed a marker from his Planeswalker, that must be the plus ability of Renin 6, I'm assuming?
If you plus it up, he returns a land from graveyard to hand. If you minus, then it pings a target creature or player or Planeswalker for 1.
For 1.
And then if you minus 7, you get an emblem that says cards in your graveyard have retrace. What retrace specifically does is if you discard a card, you basically can cast a card from your graveyard again.
Oh my!
As long as it's an instant or sorcery.
For a CMC or for free?
Depends on what the card is.
Oh man! But Liliana! Oh, that's my girl! That's my girl! Woo! Now go ahead and tell her what she's about to do to his opponent.
So she discards a card at +1, -2, sacrifice a creature, and then -6, you take your opponent's permanents, separate them into 2 piles, and your opponent chooses one. and then sacrifices the other. Now, her minus ability doesn't actually get utilized all that often. So when I say her minus, I mean her -6.
For shame, man. That should be minus all day.
People usually minus her for the -2, make opponent sacrifice a creature, and then +1 and have everyone discard cards. So she's great in a Madness deck, oddly enough. And she's great to control what your opponent has on the field. Now, that being said, usually she doesn't last more than a turn or two. If she does last longer than that, then she's already taken over the game state.
You know, I don't understand how a woman with so much experience don't last that long on board. Hey, when his opponent played Termagral, and he's got him on board right there, so he's got a bit of power, but of course we haven't seen some dice being placed on him in order to see what the power and what the toughness is of the Termagral.
Right now it's a 4/5.
It's a 4/5 Termagral.
But that is debating. That really doesn't matter because Will again has that Liliana. You could force him to sack that Tarmogoyf, and he also has that Nihil Spellbomb to make it so that there's no cards in Vickers' graveyard, so that'll lower the power of Tarmogoyfs overall significantly.
Too strong, man. I gotta find me a Veil, the Liliana the Veil, but she expensive, man. She really is. I think last time I saw her was 80. Oh, no! He house heated my Liliana! Man.
I told you she doesn't usually last so longer than a turn or two.
Liliana, you gotta last, girl. You gotta come up with another copy. You gotta get reprinted or something, and you gotta last.
She has been printed, I think, twice, maybe 3 times. I'd have to go back and look. I want to say she was reprinted in Modern Masters 2 and then Ultimate Masters, but I could have the Master sets mixed up, or she might have only been printed Ultimate Masters.
I gotta find a copy that is cheap enough for me to buy just so that I can have it. I mean, why not have your favorite Planeswalker card?
Fair enough.
My goodness. Oh, you see that elegant? Oh, he went through that limp wrist like that. That wasn't your average limp wrist. That was an aggressive, bro, it's your turn, player. Go ahead and go. That's what he did right there. So Vickers is going to go ahead, and he's got a red and 6 on board. He's going to go ahead and do his little fetch lands. And he's got one of the oldie lands. You can tell oldie lands by the borders.
Yeah.
Is what you can tell right there. And I'm assuming it taps for what his other lands were.
That one specifically taps for a swamp.
Oh, it just taps for a swamp. So he's going to go ahead, and of course he shocks himself. The shocking, oh no! He was going to play another Liliana. Oh, Vickers, what are you doing to me, man? What are you doing to me? I'm not going to lie. I might be an underdog commentator, but at the same time, you know, my girl's about to be played. She got to be played freely.
Well, right now, Will only has the Thoughtseize really in his hand. He doesn't have a value engine, at least in comparison to what Vickers has on the field right now. He's got to ping down that Ren 6, and the Ren 6 are basically just going to go back and forth. I misspoke too soon. We saw Bloodbraid Elf, and then we saw another Nihil Spellbomb. So the Bloodbraid Elf is probably, if I were Will, I'd get that Ren 6.
Yep. Get him. Oh, what's he gonna do?
He's gonna make a construct.
Oh, he makes a construct to block it. Oh man, the chump block. Yeah, you know what? And I did not see that coming either. I thought in order for you to get a construct, it has to move to the 3rd stage.
Second.
So to the 2nd stage, and then you tap for it to get your construct. Oh, man.
So right now he's going to tap and get another construct, get another blocker. He's going to sacrifice it, search his deck for possibly an Nihil Spellbomb, possibly Pithing Needle, possibly a Shadow Spear. There's a number of 1-drops and 0-drops that he can find. Possibly Mishra's Bauble.
That TV. Why not the TV?
He could possibly even get Asmo or Pyretic Spellbomb. Yep, there's Pyretic Spellbomb.
Spell bombs. We got bombs on both sides of the board. But we got Will's bomb that gets rid of the drop area. But what does Vickers' bomb do?
It deals 2 damage to target, basically target permanent. So it can hit creatures, it could hit planeswalkers, it could hit players.
Get rid of that Ren and 6 right there.
It could get rid of the Ren 6, or it can get rid of this Bloodbraid Elf.
Bloodbraid Elf. So it looks like Vickers is at 11 lives. Will is at 14 lives, but it looked like Vickers might have a bit more board presence and might actually have a little bit of an advantage. What do you think?
Right now, I would say yes, and that's only because Will has more cards in his hand. The problem is now I've seen 2 of those cards, and 2 of them are Thoughtseize, so that's not going to do Will a heck of a lot right now, because Vickers is only holding 1 land in his hand.
And you know what? The Thougeize, I mean, that
It's going to be hard to say at this point who's going to take game 2. It is, I would say it is leaning a little bit more towards Vickers, but that's only because he has the Construct.
He's got the Construct, he's got the Ren 6, he's got the bombs on board, and of course a little bit, apologize right there, guys. We flickered in and out of the stream for you guys, but it looks like we got Captain Ninetails on the horn right there. What's happening, player? This is Mount Gaul. This is Magic the Gathering at Lotus, and thank you for tuning in. I am your hype boy, PRC!
Yeah, Carl coming back at you guys. Sorry, I was looking at the play, and like I thought Will was going for information, and as I mentioned before, I believe he should have already known that was the land in his hand. We're going to see Alpine Moon coming off of Big John's side, and if Will is strategic about this, he'll say Urza's Saga.
Urza's Saga, if he's strategic. But, I mean, okay, being strategic, making sure that Urza's Saga doesn't get its effects off. It might be, he's renting. What is he doing with his Planeswalker? Oh, he's thinking right here. He's thinking hardcore. But I mean, with the Alpine Moon, he chooses a land, and then with Ren and 6, he can ding something. But how big is that construct right there?
That construct's a 2/2.
It's only a 2/2. Okay, because it counts itself as well. So it's itself and the bomb makes it a 2/2. So it's, I mean, it's kind of meh. Not what I usually would see out of a construct, but it still gets the job done when you need a chump blocker.
Yes. Right now, he does definitely need that chump blocker, and the problem is Will is not drawing into really anything right now. It doesn't help that there's not a lot in his graveyard that he could utilize either. He could utilize these lands for days if he wants, but that's not going to help him too much in the long run right now. It looks like he's going to pass. I don't know if that's the correct move. I think I would have forced him to use the Spell Bomb, forced him to chump block, something along those lines. Granted, his Ren and 6 could have taken the full hit, which is probably why he didn't do it. But there's just a lot of lines that he could have and potentially used. So it really depends on the top deck right now. I would say Vickers is a little bit more on the driver's seat, but that's only because we can't have confirmation on what that Alpine Moon named.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, definitely we cannot have that. But we get a shock, and we're over here throwing lands, and that's actually a good-looking mountain right there. And we got Will at 11 lives, Vickers at 10 lives, and of course, deck thinning being deck winning, and hopefully, next turn, Will does not draw into a land. Swinging it with the Construct, trying to do some damage, and then, of course, the Ren and 6 pinging it once again. And then we're getting the Lotus, right? The Lotus to hand in order to play it the following turn.
The problem is, in theory, that means Vickers didn't have anything else to do. He has 2 cards in hand outside of the Lotus. He has the Verdant Catacombs.
Oh, he's tapping 4.
But he doesn't know Will also has another Thoughtseize. And that Bloodbraid is actually just going to be the top deck. And we also do see an Endurance right there. Target player shuffles their graveyard back into their deck.
Go! Woo! That's the graveyard hate right there that he cited in. That is actually really good in situations like that. But I mean, it really didn't hurt anything too much. He didn't have Chandler on board. He didn't have a Terry McGraw on board. But definitely it does put him back a little bit.
Yes. And so that's the other card he probably brought in. It's a one-sided effect that's going to deal damage and not deal damage. It's going to stop Tarmogoyf from getting too terribly big, at least overall, and keep it manageable on both sides. That, as much as I'm mentioning that card, that's probably not the biggest threat that we have to worry about at this point. Vickers is going to lose his Planeswalker. He's only got the 1/1 token on the field. The Alpine Moon is probably naming Urza's Saga, and Vickers is going to scoop.
Oh, wow! I completely thought that it was Vickers' game, but it looks like Will ends up taking it, and we're going into a Game 3!
Game 3. So Big John has a little bit of more of an advantage, like I mentioned before, against this type of matchup. And what overall stopped it, as I mentioned before, well, what actually was in Will's favor actually was definitely the Bloodbraid Elves. The Cascade trigger and getting more value than Vickers could unfortunately deal with helps him out a lot.
Oh wow, I did not think that them elves were gonna put in that much work. I just see that Will doesn't have too much to deal with. We have Vickers having a red and 6. He had a construct, and from that we just see him scooping. I'm just like, oh my goodness. I did not think it was gonna be that much of a anticlimactic end with those elves.
Well, the elves are 3/2s with haste and cascade, so they might not seem like a threat, but the haste extra really does make the card. Not only with the cascade, you can just get so much value off those elves. They're definitely a 2-for-1 card, and hitting 2 of those against Little Jun when Little Jun doesn't have anything going for it, you've already ripped apart their hand, and they're already on top deck mode. Vickers would have only had 1 turn, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't really have anything in his deck to stop that sort of board state. Now, I have seen some Little Jun decks utilize a certain card called the Meat Hook Massacre lately.
Meat Hook.
And I don't know if Vickers is necessarily running that.
Well, you know, for those of you guys that are new watching this stream, the keyword skill haste means that, well, whenever you're playing Magic the Gathering and you summon a creature, you cast a creature's spell, they have what's called summoning sickness. They cannot swing or they cannot tap for any type of abilities until the following turn. So haste allows them to swing or tap the turn that they are played.
Yeah, basically, they had the Red Bull for the day.
Yeah, they had their Red Bull. It gives you wings. You already know. Woohoo! But yeah, no, definitely. This stream, like I said, we try to make it to where even newcomers, we try to explain it to you too a little bit here and there. But now that we're going on explanations, Cascade, if I'm not mistaken, you get to look at the top card of your deck and then play it if it's a non-land permanent?
No. So the way Cascade works is with Bloodbraid Elf there specifically, it's a 4-drop. The spell is still on the stack, so you reveal cards until you reveal a card that costs less than 4 and you play that card, or you may play that card. Doesn't matter if it's a creature, instant, sorcery, planeswalker, artifact, whatever. As long as it's not a land and as long as the card itself doesn't cost more than 4 in this case,
and
you can play it.
And not equal to it. It has to be less.
It has to be
less. It
less.
has to be less. Okay.
And so Big Jund levels out at 4, so it's always going to hit something less than 3, whether that be Blood Moon, Liliana the Veil, Ren and 6, Tarmogoyf, whatever. It's always going to hit something.
Liliana the Veil. And on top of that, we got Gold Medal OG on the horn. What's happening, player? How you doing? I'm doing pretty decent. I mean, this is actually round 3, game 3 here on Mount Gall, Magic the Gathering at Lotus. This is our modern Magic tournament where these guys are practicing and they're giving all they got because there's a 1K event happening in Cyprus and that these guys are prepping for right there. And man, do I know what it is to prep. That's a lot of dough on the line.
Yeah, just a bit.
That is a lot of dough. But you, Gold Medal, how have you been? How are you doing? How was your turkey day? Go ahead. You can type a novel if you want to. Let us know on the chat section. And you know what? Now that I see that, let's click on the multi-stream just in case. Okay, we don't have anything on the multi-stream. Yeah, no, we got 2 streams. I didn't even know about that one. But we already see Will. Oh, we see Will with this limp wrist. That means we headed to the mats.
So we see the Dragon Rage Chandler turn 1. Realistically, Vickers is going to go down to 17. He fetch shocked, and we're going to have a shock lightning bolt off the top. So it's 18-17 overall. Response. So right now, this is when Jun is at its strongest when it has a full hand. So
yeah, they're going back. They're playing real fast. This is when you know that these guys know exactly what they're doing. They know how their deck is being played, and they're playing a mirror match. They know how their opponent is playing too, and they're just playing card for card, not wasting any time whatsoever.
Yep. So it's almost a Jun mirror match. Jeff, it's actually Big Jun versus Little Jun. The difference being, obviously, Vickers is utilizing Little Jun, whereas Will is utilizing Big Jun.
That's right. Big John versus Little John.
It's like his muscle arm versus my muscle arm. I'm still working out, getting there. Not as big as his, though, obviously.
No, he's getting there, though. He's getting there, man. He's got the Lotus, and the Lotus is about ready to be cast. And you know, like it looks like we got 2 lands right there. We got Thoughtseize being played, and the Thoughtseize reveals that he has a hell heat, unholy heat, and he has a land there. But it looks like Vickers is going to go ahead and search through his deck. He's got 2 lands. His opponent's got 2 lands. Will's at 18 lives. We got Vickers at 16 lives. Whoo! It's game 3. You already know it's game 3. You can feel it in the atmosphere, and you can cut the tension with a knife.
Oh yeah. This will definitely be a good matchup, and Vickers is definitely out there right now for a little bit of vengeance from that last round. He does have 2 removal spells, and that's going to help him in the long run against Will. But it's Jund. It's 1-for-1 removal on both sides, so don't hold anything to say that Will doesn't have removal. Odds are he does.
Oh yeah, and I can't wait for him to play Liliana the Veil because woo, she's my favorite planeswalker right there. And if I could build a deck with Liliana, that'd be great. Guys, Wizards, if you're watching this, build a Liliana deck that bottom decks. That's what we need right there. That's what I would really, really love. I will spend my money. Wizards, take my money if you actually come out with an archetype like that.
Yeah. So to get to what you asked earlier, Gold, I actually do play Modern. I've made a few regional tournaments before, stuff like that. When it comes to what I play, I'll play just about any deck. I got, not to brag or anything like that, I bought into Modern when it was super young. When all the cards were super cheap, and so because of that I was actually able to make it so I pretty much own every deck and can play whatever I want at any given time. That being said, I try to rotate through decks once or twice a week just so I maintain what I want to do with the format, try to keep up with all these decks, and the only time it really hurts me is realistically whenever Modern Horizons 1 or 2 gets printed, which knock on wood won't be for another 3 years.
Oh, you saw Vickers. Did you see how he threw that dice off that Ren and 6?
Yep.
Oh, so I'm assuming that card destroys a Planeswalker. And man, he said, get that dice off of that Ren and 6. Oh, you can feel the unholy heat happening in that room right there. Oh, man, like I said, it was real good. But to answer your question, Gold Medal, I actually have a Modern deck. Yes, I have played in Modern tournaments a couple of times. And yes, I have been defeated both times. I've been tweaking it a little bit here and there. And the deck that I play is a madness deck, man. I think it's okay. I think it won't be good until I get those fetch lands. That's why I need you. Yes, you, Trump. You got it. Oh wait, Trump is not the president anymore.
Jeez.
Man, I'm still back in
January.
I'm still back in pandemic time. Now, Biden, if you're gonna throw out a stimmy, let the stimmy happen so I can get my fetch lands, man. So I can get the fetch lands. Woohoo! It looks like we got Will playing a card, and this is the same card they actually played off of the Cascade that last game.
Yeah, so this is Endurance. It shuffles target player's graveyard back into the deck. So we saw him get rid of Vickers' graveyard right here, which is perfectly fine. The problem is that's going to put that removal back in. Right now we see an Unholy Heat and Fatal Push. That neither of those are going to kill that Endurance right off the top. But Vickers does have a fetch land on board right now that'll make that Fatal Push kill that Endurance.
Tell me what Fatal Push does, because I got a nickname for it already.
1-drop instant, kills target creature cost 2 or less, but it has an ability called Revolt. Whenever a permanent on your side of the field leaves the battlefield, you trigger Revolt, and for Fatal Push, it enables it so it can kill target creature cost 4 or less.
Oh, it's too good. See, I would just call it Almighty Push. That's what I call it. And yes, I am a fan. I watch anime and all that. And you know when Naruto was facing against Pain, and Pain was doing that Almighty Push, woo! And there goes the Hidden Leaf Village right there after that Almighty Push. That's what it's all about right there. I like the excitement. I like it. I try to bring as much hype as possible. We got Gold Medal OG on the horn saying, that's awesome, lads. Love seeing some paper Modern in these times. No, definitely. See, I'm over here. The pandemic has hit us so hard. I'm still back in a couple of years. Like, I have not. I'm still back in time there. But yeah, no, definitely. I love playing with the shiny cardboards, man. The shiny cardboards, what it's all about. And speaking of shiny cardboards, we got a Boo right here coming out and swinging in. You already know what a Boo does. We're going to exile the top card. We're going to get a treasure token that taps for any cut of mana. This guy right here, 2-1, swinging in, man, and wow. Where's Aladdin when you need him, man? Aladdin need to take that monkey off board, bro.
I know, right? Right now, that Ragavan is actually going to do some work against Big Jun. That's going to enable Vickers to potentially play cards, obviously, off the top of his deck that he normally wouldn't be able to play and would have with traditional Jun. So that might give him the reach he needs in the long run. It really just depends on what's on that top deck.
You know what? And I think this is guerrilla warfare with a monkey. This is what it is. He's dashing it in, he's doing some damage, and then he's bringing it back to hand. He's trying to save it because, the thing is, when you leave a creature out on board, you just expose a vulnerability, and you can just lightning bolt it at any time. And Jun v. Jun, these Juns got lightning bolts.
So there we have a Bloodbraid and a Liliana Veil off the Bloodbraid.
Yeah, that's my girl. Woo!
So he's going to force Vickers to discard right now. We know he has a Ragavan in hand, and then he has that Unholy Heat. He will probably, if I had to guess, discard the Unholy Heat, keep the Ragavan right now.
Yeah, you know what? And Unholy Heat doesn't even hit Planeswalkers, right?
It does.
Oh, man.
It's just Liliana's going to be at such a high value that the Unholy Heat's not going to do a lot, and he doesn't have Delirium, and I doubt he'll have Delirium anytime soon because he wasn't able to get rid of that Endurance. So that Unholy Heat for now is basically a 1-drop deal, 2 damage to target creature or Planeswalker. That's not the best option.
I'm not gonna lie, Will might end up taking this because he's playing the best Planeswalker in the game, man. How do you not take the game after playing the best Planeswalker in the game?
Well, don't forget, he had Liliana and Wrenn and 6 both in play last time, and that's arguably 1 and 2 best Planeswalker, second best Planeswalker in the game currently, and he wasn't able to take this game.
No, he got game 2. Wasn't it game 2 or the Vicar? No, I thought Vicar scooped last game.
No, you're right.
Yeah, every time he played Liliana, he got that
my
W.
games mixed up.
Yeah, no, every time he played that Liliana, he got the W. That's what we're talking about. He played the Liliana this go around, and going by trend, he's going to get the W.
There you go.
Or it could be commentator's curse, and I just ruined it for Will.
We'll find out. I don't think it's commentator's curse just yet.
Okay, we'll see, but we already got Vickers throwing the limp wrist right there. We got Vickers throwing the limp wrist, and now...
Will does have both Planeswalkers on the field already. Again, he does have that Wrenn 6, he does have that Liliana, he does have Bloodbraid Elf. That Unholy Heat will kill that Bloodbraid because Bloodbraid does only have 2 toughness, and that might have to be what he has to utilize it on.
But he's swinging in, so doesn't he get the Cascade again? Or
No, that's only on cast.
Oh, that's only on cast.
If that was on trigger, there would be a reason for that card to actually be remaining on the ban list.
OP! But yeah, no, it's only on cast. Oh man, that is unfortunate, man. Bring out another Planeswalker, man, or you know what? No, you don't have that rule because so in DBS we have our own Planeswalker. They're called unions or unisons. And what you can do is you can actually take a unison of the same name, put it underneath it to increase a marker. So, hey, but you guys don't have that in Magic, so you can't really increase the market by putting it underneath and then plussing it. That way you can get to the ultis, the big minus, big time.
Yeah. There's nothing really in Magic that necessarily does that. We have a kind of something sort of similar. It's called Mutate, where basically you put a card on top or on bottom once you utilize its ability Mutate. It basically becomes that creature if it's on top, and it gets the abilities if it's on bottom. So let's just say it's a 4-4 with Mutate. It remains a 4-4 with Mutate, and then if I mutate it, let's say onto a 1-1 with First Strike, it's now a 4-4 with First Strike.
Oh.
And the mutate ability.
Oh, that's very strong right there.
Yeah, so yeah, basically it maintains the power and toughness and the abilities of the card on top, and then it also gets the additional abilities and counters of the card on bottom.
Well, it looks like we got Vickers right now at 5 lives. We got Will. Oh!
That's the scoop.
Oh, that was it! Oh, what'd I say? Liliana, you play Liliana, you get right led to the W's right there.
Yep.
Woo!
So that is Big Jund taking down Little Jund. That just shows that realistically it can go either way. We did see Will lose game 1, but Little Jund does not necessarily have the best advantage of Big Jund, especially when Big Jund starts laying out multiple Planeswalkers, especially when it starts cascading, get multiple cards of value. Jund has really a hard time dealing with cards that get multiple cards of value.
So what you're saying is you got to play big. If you're going to play Jund, play Big Jund.
In this meta right now, I'd argue that you'd need to play Little Jund with Lotus, actually.
Oh, really?
I would argue that Lotus is just too good of a card, but things just didn't pan out for Vickers right now.
I feel like the thing with Lotus is the fact that you have to tap 3 to bring it back and then play it the following turn. I feel like at that point, it actually hurts a little bit.
Oh, is that your bag? Is that your bag?
Yeah, that's my bag right there.
I'm putting the money. I owe you in there. I gotta go.
Oh, you gotta leave?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was looking forward to playing, but hey, if you gotta go, you gotta go. Is Marcus gonna be here too, or?
Nope, he opens in the morning.
Biscuits. Oh, all right then. Well, you guys have a blessed one.
That was just Lily stopping by, passing off a little bit of information to us. So, like I said, Lurrus, as Gold mentioned down below, is definitely OP. It's hard to say not to play a deck with Lurrus. If you're not playing a deck with Lurrus, you better make sure your deck is able to handle any Lurrus deck or handle the meta and its extension. I honestly just think Vickers kind of got the raw deal. He wasn't drawing necessarily too well, because in theory, right now, Little Jund should have had that.
Oh, in theory, but Little Jund don't have Liliana.
Correct.
Woohoo!
They haven't made a 2-drop of Liliana yet.
Oh, but if they do, oh my gosh, you know, the W's are just going to be following behind, of course, the playset of Liliana's that you would get. And of course, you already know since Liliana's the best planeswalker, she's going to be high dollar, high price, high dollar. But that was the end of round 3, guys. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be back for the finals here on Mount Gaul. This is Magic the Gathering at Lotus. I am your hype boy, PRC.
Carl Quinn back at you guys.
Don't go anywhere. What's happening, Planeswalkers? Woo-hoo-hoo! It's your hype boy, PRC.
Carl coming back at you guys.
And this is going to be the finals here on Mount Gall. This is Magic the Gathering at Lotus, and we're just having a chock-full fun time. And you know what? I'm supporting my buddy Kyle here. And Kyle was saying, you know what? We're going to see some variety. We're going to see different people up on the stream. Even though we did see, I think we saw Dan, we have not seen JP up here. That way, everybody can actually go back into the stream and actually study and see what they did, if they could tweak it or whatnot, because everyone is preparing for the 1K. But the top tables, the finals is against Will and, oh, I can't remember. It was Will and
JP?
Will.
Or, I'm sorry, for finals?
Yeah, for undefeated. So just to let everybody know who's watching the stream, the undefeated is, Will and Matt. Undefeated is Will and Matt. They would normally be top tables, but like I said, we decided to show out JP, so JP can go back into the stream and he can get some views on how he was playing too, so that he can go ahead and tweak and test as well. But you already know, we're ready. This is the first game in the finals. Let's head to the mats. Woo! Like this right here, and you know what? We got JP with his Stalin mac and cheese mat right there with the guy that I don't know if that's JP himself or somebody else.
Oh no, that's another guy who actually obsessively. That's the joke. It's just an inside joke that we have here locally. Guy, I think they also sent him like 50 boxes of mac and cheese at one point or something. I don't know.
Is that the picture of it right there?
No, I don't think it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it might be actually. You know, you're right. That might be the 50 boxes they sent him.
Oh, that is hilarious there. Well, it looks like we already went and started off, and we have seen Dan and what Dan's deck is known to do, with getting that mana dork right there and tapping, and we got his opponent that has a mountain and a forest out there. So what can you... what can you deduce by what the lands he has?
So normally people wouldn't be able to deduce it just by one land. I know what JP's playing, not because I already have his deck list or anything like that. I actually don't this time. I just know JP as a player, and right now he's going to play a deck that you rarely see, very few people actually play, and that is Panza. So that is red-green land destruction.
Panza. Red-green land destruction.
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, so if I'm not mistaken, because I'm new here, most of the cards that destroy land, aren't they like CMC of 3 or higher?
Yep.
Oh, man. So he's got his work cut out for him here. And, of course, the reason why I say that is because everybody in the meta is going to be playing shock lands and bringing out all of their lands. So how is destroying their land? If they see all their lands, I don't think destroying is going to help unless the opponent is just mana screwed.
Well, against the 5-color decks like we saw against Yorion earlier, that would help. And then against specific decks that run 3-color or are very light on lands, it can help. Not to mention, JP can actually, if he's on the play, destroy lands turn 2.
Oh, gotcha. And it looks like these guys aren't even using the... Oh, man, I told them to use the big dice so we can keep track of it, but they're going ahead and using the drawn little pin pad there.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine because how Dan's going to win right now is he's either going to utilize this infect creature and get JP ultimately in one go, because that's just how this deck is. And we see it going there in one go already.
Oh, you already know. Yeah, he went to grab the hammer. Oh, he's going to smash the hammer. Oh, that was a quick scoop.
So this deck is both quick. So what happened right here is Dan had a card, an enchantment called Sigarda's Aid out on the field. That enables him to play equipments and enchantments at instant speed. So JP, in theory, thought he was safe with one lightning bolt against this infect creature, but Dan had 2 hammers in hand. So in theory, he places down 1 hammer, JP goes to respond, he has to bolt the creature. Dan goes to respond next, plays another hammer. So that hammer is on the stack and will resolve first before JP's lightning bolt does.
Oh, so it's not going to do enough damage to destroy him because he's already going to catch Mjolnir.
Mm-hmm. The little ink moth nexus, this little moth is holding Mjolnir, and it's already an 11/11 infect.
He's already got. He holds one, boom, and then he gets the other, boom. Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. So we already saw the decisive game 1 there. In theory, this game is actually going to be fairly interesting. So we already saw Dan take game 1. But JP actually being heavy land destruction, the Infect Train will not get him that easily. He has access to Blood Moons. He's got access to land destruction spells. He has access to spells that destroy artifacts relatively easily in these colors. So it should, in theory, be a very interesting matchup for Hammer Time.
No, interesting. I'm just curious as to how Hammer Time has not made it to top tables, man. When you got that big hammer, bro, and you just going in 10-10 and swinging down on your opponents.
It's because it's a highly popular deck right now. A lot of people are expecting it.
Oh, they are. So, okay, and like you said before, there is quite a bit of stuff that you can actually side against it because Hammer Time actually has a hard time in game 2. So, okay, so it's a quick game 1, which actually is needed. I mean, whenever you're doing a matchup, you want to make sure that you can get that first game so you have a leeway of the next 2 games. That way you can figure out your opponent's deck. That way you can try to side in and help you in order to quit that hammer or find that hammer faster or come up with some other win con.
Yep.
So it's good. It's good.
Quick game 1s really are useful, especially when you're going to, obviously, like we've seen happen before on stream today, going to game 3, potentially ending that tie. So...
Oh, that Hammer Time is too strong, man. It really is strong. I wonder, whenever they come out with a certain deck for Modern, is it ever a chance that later down the road they come out with support for a certain deck? Or is it just a generic card that comes out and you're like, oh, let me go ahead and stick it in Hammer Time?
For Magic, it's a generic card. I'm doing quotations here. It only shows up on half the screen. It's a generic card that might slip into specific decks or might be made around another archetype, but there are cards that fit certain themes. An example being tribal cards. Tribal cards coincidentally fit older formats like Modern or Legacy for specific decks, whereas decks like Hammer Time, nothing really is going to come up for that deck anytime soon. There's not going to be another one-drop artifact that it needs. There's not going to be another Lotus that it needs. So if there's another card that is made for Hammer Time, it's going to be complete coincidence at this point.
Oh, okay, complete coincidence, but man, that Paladin putting in that work, that's really, really good. The fact that you got an equipment that you would normally attach for 8, and I'm assuming that before the Paladin, no one would play that card. I mean, unless you could come out with a whole bunch of mana and then tap 8 to equip it or something.
People were actually trying. So the Paladin is actually an older card than the Colossus Hammer. Colossus Hammer in the retrospective Magic is relatively new. I want to say it's less than 3 years old. People, when that card was made, were like, "Oh, this card's hilarious. Let me try to break this card." And we eventually did. It just took a little bit of doing for people to finally get the right pieces together. So it was always a deck that wasn't at the forefront, but definitely was in people's minds. And then what helped it was the unbanning of Stoneforge Mystic. Urza Saga definitely helped it out, gave it some long longevity. Lurrus obviously is just bonus for the card, and as Gold Medals mentioned, ban Lurrus in Modern. I 100% agree. As I mentioned before on the stream, I'm for banning the Lurrus. I don't mind losing out on $10 worth of value if it means the format becomes a lot more healthy.
$10, or do you mean head to the mats?
Head to the mats is always nice.
Oh, we're starting off, and it looks like we have an Esper Sentinel. Oh,
there you go.
PR Science remembering these cards right here. Now, don't ask me what the effect does. All I know is when your opponent plays a certain card, you get to draw a card if they don't tap, right?
Correct. Anytime he plays a non-creature card.
Non-creature.
And so JP actually drew a hate piece, and that is something you don't generally see here at this shop very often. That's actually a legacy hate piece. That's called Trinisphere. So all cards that cost 1, 2, or anything less than that now cost 3 to cast.
So, that's an expensive hammer.
So basically that actually shuts Dan's deck outright right now. Dan can't play anything turn 2. Turn 3, he can only play one thing. He can't even play a 0-drops because they now cost 3 to play. That's going to slow Dan down to a crawl.
Oh, that JP threw that in there. That's hate right there. He must play a playset. You got to throw a playset in there.
That's a 2 of.
A 2 of?
That's a 2 of, I guarantee it.
And he saw it? A 2 of? Oh, no, man. If I want to see something that potent that stops the deck cold turkey, I need to see it multiple times.
So what JP will do now is, there's the Blood Moon. That's going to kill that Urza Saga. And he's going to pay the 1 so Dan can't draw a card. And that's probably going to shut Dan off for the rest of the game.
Dang! Oh, there's 2 planets on board right there. The planet. And they're going to be putting in a lot of work. Blood Moon is nice.
Yes.
Like I said, I played it earlier today, and it felt nice. Look, the boy JP is playing it right now, and he's like, nah, forget all this, man. Forget this.
It looks like he aggressively mulliganed, and that's what he drew for his hate piece. So he's going to have a 5-drop here.
Bolt.
There's a lightning bolt. He's going to pay for it.
The one so you don't draw.
Yep.
Oh, and then swinging in. So now JP is cardless in hand, but has done the damage. The damage has been done. He's got both of the moons up there. Oh, that's a moon, right? Or is that a bomb?
So the other one's kind of less like a bowl of an energy in a bowl.
Oh, okay. They look both like they could be planets right there. So he's tapping 3, and what is he playing 3 for? Is that the power?
Sanctor Invec.
Sanctor Invec.
It's a 2-drop, but remember that Trinisphere says now all of his cards cost 3 to play.
3 to play. Oh, man, he's putting it. So now he's going to tap draw. Oh, come on, man. You got to throw the hammer out there sometime.
He's not going to be able to for a long time.
Oh, man, that's unfortunate.
He's playing 1 card per turn at this point right now. That Inkmoth Nexus is also another 1-drop at this point. Or 1 card that he can't activate. So he's going to get the Stoneforge Mystic there. He's probably, if I were him, I'd probably get the Shadow Sphere. I wouldn't anticipate the Colossus Hammer being useful anytime soon, and I'd need that life gain. And you see him getting the Shadow Sphere there. JP literally needs a threat, and he could lock this game away. But by him spinning that card, I'm assuming that card is not a threat.
Oh, he's going to tap 3 for it, and
Stone Rain.
Stone Rain destroys a land?
Yep.
Oh, man. So now on top of that, he's locking his lands, so they're all, they're not basic lands, they're all mountains. So he's got mountains and plains, and then he's going to continue to shoot down your land as well.
Potentially. Right now, Dan's hitting a land flood, and so if he can get 1 more land, I think he'll be in a decent spot. He's going to equip that to the Sanctifier Invec, and now that Sanctifier Invec is going to have pro-red, pro-black, lifelink, trample, swing for 3. And that Stoneforge Mystic is a 1/2. So JP's not in the best spot right now.
Ooh, so even with his locks, oh my gosh, Dan don't need the hammer to drop the hammer.
Yep.
Oh, he's gonna go ahead and get rid of it right there.
So that's actually not a Stone Rain. That's another land destruction spell. I can't recall the name of it, but it says destroy target artifact or land. And you saw him hit the.
Oh, there's a hammer! Woo!
Nice. You saw him hit the thing there. So what this card does is
it equips it.
Yep, it's Core Augur automatically equips, and yeah, so that Sanctifier is now a 12/12.
Oh, you gotta chump block the hammer.
I believe Hammer Time runs that as a 1-of or a 2-of, but unfortunately that's just not a good spot because JP keeps drawing lands. He was in a really good spot with all those hate pieces.
He really was. But the hate was not strong enough from Mjolnir. Yeah, no, he looks at it, he points at it, he throws his hand.
No, that was it. He kept drawing lands.
That was it. Oh, Hammer Time, boom!
He kept drawing lands, and that's super rough. Super rough.
Oh, man. JP. Oh, that was very unfortunate for JP. Dan got it in 2, and Mjolnir putting in that work. Oh, my goodness. That was... You know what? I like that you threw them in the stream room right there. Even though it was pretty quick, man. Oh, I get so fired up when I see that hammer being used.
Yeah, the hammer does well. In theory, if JP drew 1 piece of... Well, any of his threats, really, I think he would have came back from that. He needed Stormbreath Dragon, he needed Endbringer, Planeswalker, anything, but he just hit that gigantic land flood. The Trinisphere turn 2 really shut down Dan, but unfortunately Dan kept drawing lands, as did JP, and that's just not a great view for Ponza to keep drawing lands and your opponent to keep drawing lands.
Yeah, that's the thing. JP drew his hate pieces. He had the Blood Moon. He had the orb right there. He had what he needed. But, man, that's just something about Magic. And that's actually the first time when I got out of it. Because Shadows over Innistrad is when I got in. But, man, I was just like, man, I keep on getting mana flooded or mana screwed, man. I either saw too many or I saw too little. But this man saw enough of the hammer. Woo! I like that right there. Well, that was the end right there, the finals. The next time you see our wonderful faces, it would be to give you the standings and then, of course, close out for tonight. And then hopefully, we got some announcements for you guys. And then we're going to be bidding adieu and making sure we sign off and give these guys good luck for the 1K event that will be happening soon this weekend.
That's true. Now, they might not split top 4. They might continue to go get further practice, so we'll see. We might be back with another match in the stream room, or we might go to top. We'll find out here momentarily, guys.
We might actually, so do not go away. We'll be back here on Mount Gaul, Magic the Gathering at Lotus. I'm your hype boy, PRC.
Carl, seeing you guys in a minute.
Don't go anywhere. What's happening, Planeswalkers? Woo! We're back! I am your hype boy, PRC.
Carl coming back at you guys.
And we're going to go ahead and close off the night. We're going to give you the standings, some announcements, and then we're going to go ahead and bid adieu. So, take it away, Kyle.
All right, so in first place, we have Vickers. We saw him play Baby Jund earlier. He ended up taking first place with us.
Hey.
Then we do have Matt. I'm sorry, then we do have Dan, of course, taking it with Hammer Time in second place. Then Matt, of course, with Is It. We have Ragavans and Dragons in that one. And then last but not least is Will taking out the back with Big Jun. So Jun coming in at the beginning and end there, of course.
That is very good, and that ends yet another wonderful hump day with Modern Magic, with these guys coming out and showing us what they got. I mean, I was very, very excited seeing Hammer Time. I'm not going to lie. That actually might be my favorite if I see it in the future. That's going to be something that, behind the scenes, I'm going to be a little bit biased to, for. Oh, there's JP right there. But, guys, hopefully you had a wonderful time. I know we enjoyed ourselves commentating as well. Some announcements for you guys. So next week on Wednesday, same time, same place, same stream, we're going to be commentating some more Modern Magic on yet another hump day. And that will be my second Wednesday for commentating for Magic. Then the next 2 weeks will be for DBS. And then who knows, sometime soon, I think within the next couple of weeks, I will be going ahead and commentating for Digimon. So I'm gonna be pretty busy.
Pretty all over the place.
Pretty all over the place. Guys, like I said, hopefully you have a wonderful rest of the night. I am your hype boy, PRC.
Carl, catch you guys later. Have a good one.
UBI.